Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Shine and Thrive Photography Podcast. Today, I'm sharing a recording with you from another podcast that I was a guest on. The podcast is called Sharpshooter Pod with host Danika. And this was such a great, deep conversation I had with Danika that I'm just like, I need to share this on my podcast too. I think this will resonate a lot, especially with moms that are photographers as well. We just went on so many beautiful tangents, and the conversation mainly started around movement and mindfulness as a photographer, how that could actually improve our photography, the way we run our business. I'm huge in that world, and I love incorporating mindfulness and movement and intention and energy and spirituality into my work. So I share a lot about that, even with some practical tips of like how to really represence yourself or regulate your nervous system, even if you're at a shoot or a wedding. And we also talked about like just reflections about our birth stories and motherhood. And I just shared a lot about my journey also with being a mom for the past 3 years. So I really like this episode. I'm a very deep thinker, and so is Danica, and we connected a lot on those things. And this is just one of those conversational episodes where it'll help you feel less alone. It'll help you reignite that energy within you that will help you feel lighter and brighter, and that you are really the one in control of your energy, of your mood, of your results in your life. So, yeah, enjoy listening to this episode. And also, if you do want to follow along with Danica's podcast as well, the link is in the show notes. And yeah, enjoy.
Hi, Sarah. How are you today?
Hey, Danica, good. I am so freaking excited, and I feel this like really cool energy happening right now. That's
Yes.
like, it's already so grounded, and I'm just like so excited about everything that's gonna surface. And yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so stoked.
Yeah, absolutely. Once I saw everything that you were about on Instagram recently and had a chance to reach out to you, I was just so stoked to have you on this particular episode. I feel like we really connect on this topic, and I am so stoked to see what we come up with in this conversation.
Me too.
And of course, like not only did I connect with like the things that you were posting, just like your very genuine like personality like on your stories, but like I totally admire like the work that you do. I think it's incredible and you can just see like how passionate you are about your job and just the lifestyle that you have like behind it, approaching it as well.
Well, thank you.
Of course. I'm letting my listeners know again, this month I have titled the month June Energy. So I've done some other episodes leading up to this one just about like self-care and how that leads to success in business and reigniting creativity, things about like just being present in the moment, like going back like inner child work, all of that kind of stuff. Like, and I think that movement and mindfulness is just obviously going to be so, so important to finish out the month. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you started, like in your journey as a photographer and now becoming like a mom a couple years back, and just give us a little history?
Yeah, well, firstly, I love that you're doing this kind of like a theme for the month. I think that's so cool and so fun. And it just, yeah, it's really, really cool. And so the theme of the month is, what did you say again? It was like,
June energy.
pardon?
June energy.
June. And yeah, and what's the June energy? Is it like groundedness and self-care?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. So
Hmm.
I love that.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so, yeah, for everybody listening, hi, I'm Sarah Monica, but you can just call me Sarah. I use Monica, it's my middle name, as like my full name because the last one, my last name is Polish and very difficult, and I'm like, I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah, that actually
So,
happened to
yeah.
me when I my last name previously, my maiden name was Briggs, but my
Yeah.
husband's last name is Pardo Megs, like the whole thing. And I was like, I want to be the same, but I'm taking your hyphenated last name. So, just call me like Mrs. Alphabet.
Yeah, that's hilarious. So yeah, a little bit about me. So I've been a photographer for free-spirited and adventurous couples for 13 years now, and I still love it. I still get so energized and excited from documenting wedding days. I'm so in flow all day. I love it so much. And then I also run another business, which is my education business. So I'm also a host of a photography podcast. I have my YouTube channel. And specifically, I help photographers create a business that they actually love to run, that feels like aligned to their soul, like they're not, you know, focused on having to do things that they should be doing. It's like I love helping photographers really align to what they want to be doing because it's actually so much more easier to be profitable when
Mhm.
you're in your excited energy and aligned energy all the time. And most importantly, I help photographers run businesses that are burnout free,
Mhm.
thanks to the power of outsourcing, which I have experience with for 9 years now. So essentially, I help photographers work 70% less at their computers and make the same income or more. And I'm super passionate about that because as like today's topic, right? Movement and mindfulness, if we are constantly hustling and being reactive in the way that we run our businesses, how could there possibly be room for how could there possibly be spaciousness for making time for moving our bodies, for
Mhm.
maybe meditating, journaling, taking care of our souls, right? So I like to say, hustle isn't the vibe anymore.
Yep.
I'm here to really shift that paradigm and help people like create spaciousness in a sustainable way
Mhm.
that actually creates room for us to fill our cups. Because if we don't fill our cups, we hit burnout, we resent our clients, we burn our business to the ground and say,
Mhm.
this is not what I thought it would be. Let me just settle for a 9 to 5 job. Let me just settle for something else, And I'm not about settling. Fuck that shit, guys. Like we can have it all. We can, yeah, we can have it all. It's just about like the steps that you take. There's just certain steps that will take you in the direction of having, the working less, making more.
Right.
And then if you take different steps, which is, being reactive and doing everything
Mhm.
yourself in your business and not having time for your own well-being, then that leads to burnout, resentment, and quitting,
Right.
right? So there's two different paths, and I just help people get on the path they want to get on, which is,
Yeah.
yeah.
The right one.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and you asked me, so I'm also a mom. I've been a mom now for 3 years.
Aw.
It's still so weird for me to say that. I don't know about you,
No,
but
it is.
like
It is. And my
so
son just
weird.
turned 5 on
Yeah.
Saturday. And it still feels like I literally had a moment over the weekend as we're celebrating his birthday. I was like, I have a 5-year-old. I haven't even processed that he was born yet because that was such a huge life event.
Yeah.
And I also have a second child, so really haven't processed him.
Yeah, because we've been alive way longer without
Yes.
kids than we
Yeah.
have kids. And it's like we're still adjusting. Oh my gosh, my
Yes.
adjustment period was very unexpected, but like I'm growing in so many ways.
Yeah,
But
of course.
but yeah, I love it. I'm loving it more and more each
Hmm.
step. At one point I was like I was really like I struggled with a bit of postpartum depression on like a sliding scale.
Hmm.
And it was funny. It was only after I finished my whole season, my whole wedding season, because then everything got quiet, stopped, and then I'm like,
Right.
wait, who am I now? Like, what is my identity now? It was like a whole thing. But now I'm like really coming out evolved and like on the other side of what's it called? I was really resistant of the new lifestyle shift
Hmm.
from going from I could do what I want when I want
Yeah.
to oh, I can't, stay up till
Right.
3 a.m. just because I want to and wake up at noon. Like, I'm like, that's why
Right.
I started my own business so I could sleep in. And it's like,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
That's so
So,
funny. Oh, because
yeah,
you had your business already for like 10 years before your son was born.
exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. So your timeline with it is so different than
Oh,
mine.
interesting.
So for me, like I always kind of like dabbled in photography. I had 9 to 5 job. And then actually in January of 2020, things
Hmm.
kind of fell through with like my previous job, and I was like, you know what, I need to make this jump. Like I'm at this point where I can run my own business, and I
Yeah.
was pregnant. I was like 3 months
Oh,
pregnant at the
yeah.
time, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is going to be the thing that I can do. It's my time because then I can like also spend this time with my baby. I didn't know at the time if
Hmm.
we were having a boy or girl, but
Yeah.
I'll be able to spend the time with my baby. And then lo and behold, 3 months later, there was COVID. Then 3 months later, I had a baby. And all of a sudden, now I have a business. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So 2020 was very life-changing, to say the
Oh my
least.
gosh.
But it worked
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, well that is a very different timeline. So you don't know like you're literally don't have a perspective of running your own business without a kid.
Right.
Wow. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's super interesting. I've never thought about that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, well, I'm glad. Oh, I had a question for you when you were explaining that about mom life. Oh, what month was your son born in? Like, so how did that like his birth,
Mm.
like what did your schedule look like that year, like with weddings?
Oh man, I'm so proud of like what I was able to create because I knew that when we were going to start a family, I knew what I wanted. I didn't want to just settle for, okay, then I'm not going to work and then take EI government money just
Oh,
because
right,
to,
right.
like while I'm off work and all of that. I wanted to continue doing what I loved, which is running my business on
Mhm.
a scaled down level because of course
Right,
you need that like quiet spaciousness as well when you become a new
right.
mom. Um, and so this was the game plan that I have had planned for years. And part of the process and me preparing to start a family was to have my outsourcing in place. So I had a virtual assistant, an editor, so that when I became a mom, I was already working 70% less at my computer,
Hmm.
still bringing in the same income. So I could literally have both like a thriving business and a lot of like family time.
Hmm.
So to answer your question, Ben was born February 2022,
Okay.
which was perfect because as a wedding photographer, like, yes, off-season baby, let's go. Like I
Yes,
was
well, good for
ready.
you. Mine are in
Yeah.
the
Oh
summer.
no. Oh, in the summer. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But I will say I manifested that shit. I have a whole
Good.
podcast episode on how I manifested my dream car and my baby. And like
Oh my
I
gosh, I love
literally
that.
even down to like um my birth story, I wrote down on a piece of paper because I'm a specific manifestor in human
Okay.
design. I wrote down on a piece of paper, I want the labor to be under 8 hours.
Okay.
Yep, even though I was a first time mom. I want the baby to be 7 pounds or less. I want to have a nighttime birth and at
Love that.
home with
Uh-huh.
no intervention.
Okay.
That's what I said. And everything came true.
Oh,
Oh, and
and
I said I
you
want no tearing.
you
And
didn't
had no
have like an epidural or anything?
no, no, I
Good
did it at
for
home.
you.
I did a course on how to give birth naturally because we're
Okay,
not taught
this
this. So I did that and it was amazing.
so
But yeah.
I have to just
Why?
insert here really
Yeah,
quick.
yeah, yeah.
I haven't like shared this. I did think
Okay.
about doing like an episode kind of on this because last year when I was pregnant, I think I did my what did I call it? I had an episode called Level Up. There was like a lot of things happening like in business and life that felt like leveling up. And so that's like when I shared like my pregnancy announcement last year on the podcast. But
Yeah.
I never actually came back and like talked about like the birth story.
Mm,
So my first son, um, I don't, I actually don't know my human design in that
mm.
regard. I feel like now I
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
use that. I feel like you and I should chat about that later. But
Yeah, yeah, we can.
but I feel like I've always like when I look back at my life, like I've always kind of like envisioned things. And I don't know if like I just kind of like naturally manifested without realizing I was manifesting for a very long
Yeah.
time in my life.
Yeah.
But like even down to like, oh, one day I'm gonna have sons, like stuff like that.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. And so like
That's like sounds like a knowing, like sounds like
I
a clair sentient
I don't
gift
know.
or
Yeah, I'm,
something.
I'm not
Yeah.
too sure because like I grew up with five brothers and a sister. And so I always
Hmm.
just like, oh, I was always surrounded by the boys because my sister wasn't born till I was 12. And like all my closest cousins, like boys primarily, all this. And I
Yeah.
was like, I'm just gonna be a boy mom. Like
Okay, yeah,
then,
yeah.
but anyway.
Yeah.
So but in regard to like the labor and delivery of my oldest son, it was kind of like I didn't have an exact like I want this to be my birth plan, but like as long as the baby's here and healthy, like I kind of just wanted it to be like a calm like experience. And it was like
Yeah.
exactly that, you know.
Oh,
It was like a
nice.
16-hour like total, but just like calm in the middle of the night, like and it was during COVID, so like nobody could come, and that was great for me. I don't
Oh,
want
yeah.
anybody there anyway, just my husband
Yeah.
and like, you know. But
Yeah.
my second born now, a completely opposite
Ah,
experience.
oh my
Like,
gosh.
um, so with my oldest son, I did have the epidural, but the
Yeah.
experience still was like really great. With my youngest son, it actually ended up being like an absolute like emergency situation, like had to call
Yeah.
911. Like he was almost born at home,
Wow. Yeah.
like literally 29 minutes away from being born in my bedroom. Like
Oh my gosh.
so terrifying. So by the
Yeah.
time we got there to the hospital, they're like, yeah, we can't give you the epidural because now I'm freaking out.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
because it escalated. I had what it was called a precipitous labor, which means the
Uh-huh.
entire thing lasts less than 3 hours, I
Oh
believe.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Hmm.
insane. So like 0 to 100, like real quick, and then
Real
baby
quick. Yeah.
trainer. Like my husband, like literally made it to the hospital within like probably less than 10 minutes, and then Colby was born.
Oh my God.
It was wild, but no
Wow.
epidural. And to be honest, the recovery was way better. And I was just
Yeah.
like, okay, there's something about doing this naturally that like we're just meant to do this as women.
Yeah.
Our bodies are made for
Oh
this.
yeah.
And I
Oh
wish
yeah.
I would have known that my first time.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, for anyone that is listening and you're like, "Ooh, I want to like learn how to give birth naturally," like check out Karen Welton.
mhm.
I took her course and it was just game changer. I felt
Okay.
so empowered. I was like, I'm confident. I know what I'm doing. I know how to like breathe so my contractions hurt a lot less. I
Hmm.
know how to like breathe to push the baby down faster with my uterus. Like there's so many
Yeah.
cool things. I felt I was not scared. I was so in
Hmm.
control. It was the best thing ever. So,
That's amazing. Wow, I'm so
yeah.
proud. I'm so
Yeah.
proud of you for doing
Oh,
that
thanks.
with your first baby. That's incredible. Um,
Yeah, so that was
very
fun. So
cool.
I love that we like ended up talking about that. And
Yeah.
then oh yeah, so he was born February 2022
Okay.
and I took 3 months off. I gave myself 3 months off. And the thing that happened was because it was 2022, so many COVID weddings ended
Okay.
up getting pushed forward, forward,
Right.
forward. And 2022 was a season where I had 32 weddings on the books from
Ooh.
May to October. And it's still, and again, I don't know how I would have done it if I wasn't prepared ahead of time with these systems where I was working 70% less on my computer, right? I had my editor's support, I had my VA, everything was running smoothly. I already knew how to like really like run this like mini team, right, for
Right.
myself. So I went into it like so confident, so prepared. But on top of that, I'm not just running a photography business, I'm running an education business.
Yes.
And it's about, and I do like a one big launch every year for my outsourcing made easy course every October. So from May to October that year, that's when I was working.
Oh,
And
nuts.
the other months I had pretty much off.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud to say, again, I have no limits with what I share because I think if we're all an open book, we can just learn what's possible.
Yeah.
Um, I made that year $270,000 in revenue from both
Wow.
businesses, but
Uh-huh.
that's not the part I'm proud of because what I wanted was to have abundance in money and
Mhm.
abundance in time
Oh,
as a new mom. And I worked on average from May to October,
uh-huh.
24 to like 29 hours a week. And but this includes
Incredible.
shooting weddings.
This is incredible.
So if I had two weddings a week, which was normal, like
Right.
10 hours each,
Yeah.
then that meant I worked another like 10, 13 hours throughout the week. The
Right.
rest of the time was family time.
This is so amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, you
I
went
will,
like
yeah.
you absolutely crushed it. And I love,
Yeah.
before you even shared all of this,
Hmm.
I love and I want to acknowledge what you said at the very beginning is that you're proud of yourself. And I want to acknowledge this because like I think as business owners and moms and everything, like we so often just like are our own worst critics, right? And we don't celebrate those wins enough. And for you, that like is an absolutely massive win because it's like you came out with like both the abundance in money and
Hmm.
time, just like you wanted. And I think
Yeah.
that's absolutely incredible and should be celebrated and recognized in all of these things. And I hope that the moms and business owners out there who are listening can see you as a source of inspiration because that's like super powerful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And I will say, because I like to keep shit real, something that did happen to me at the end of the year when November came around, December,
Mm-hmm.
and everything like stopped, right? All that intense work stopped because I was
Yep.
podcasting, I
Right.
was shooting weddings, like delivering weddings, all the things, doing a huge course launch in October. When everything stopped, I kind of had this, that's when I had a delayed postpartum depression,
Okay.
which happened actually started at the end of that year. But during the like busy time, I was actually happy. Everything was good. I was
Mm-hmm.
balancing home life, family life.
Mm-hmm.
But I will be honest, I get caught up to me at the end of the year. I
Mm-hmm.
hit a burnout moment, but it was because um, I had the balance of, okay, I figured out my work hours and I was so productive in those work hours. I had my family time, but I didn't have time for just Sarah. I didn't have time just to go to yoga how I used, like I didn't make time for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because I had just enough time to like have everything else perfectly calculated, but
Right.
that was missing. So
Yeah.
I will say, I think for me to feel like I had an A plus year, like I felt like that was like a B plus, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
for me to feel like I had an A plus year, if I had just had maybe 20 weddings,
Mm-hmm.
22 weddings,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that would have just given me that extra sliver of 10% of time where
Right.
I could have that spaciousness without everything, it feeling like my whole day was booked up back to back
Right.
with work time and
Mhm.
then even going out for a family walk, right? Like that
Yeah.
is relaxing and that is great and fills my cup in a way. But then you have to like pump and then you have to put the baby to bed and then
Right.
spend time with spouse and
Right.
then find time for sleep. It's like I didn't find the time for just sitting there reading or going to yoga or having a fucking walk by
By
myself,
yourself.
even though I did, my mind was racing because I was too booked back to back.
Yes.
So that's the only thing. If I could just say, like, I was a little overbooked with the weddings, wasn't my choice because of the pandemic, and I really wanted to like see it through for couples. But
Right.
other than that, I really appreciate the lesson, and I really appreciate like understanding how to like curate my life moving forward with that in mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, just want you guys to know it's possible to like reverse engineer
Yes.
abundance in all areas and like you can make it happen. It just takes iteration over time, right?
Mhm. I actually have, so a couple things came to mind. I have a
Mhm.
question for you first. Were
Yeah.
you nursing your son during this time?
So for 4 months, so
Okay.
three and a half months, and this what happened was when I had a whole bunch of double header weddings at the start of the season, like May, June,
Yeah.
my milk supply got confused because I
Yeah.
was away from home, sometimes 2 days in a row. Even though
Right.
I tried to pump, my body didn't recognize his scent
Right.
and need and stuff. And so
Mhm.
my milk supply dwindled because of like the long days shooting. And then I was like, I'm proud. I did 3.5 months. I'm
Yeah.
happy with that. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna accept. And okay, we moved on. We switched to formula. But yeah, the first 3.5 months were breastfeeding.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I asked that because, like, my son Colby, he's 10 months. He's still nursing. And so
Yeah.
it's made, like, and the other thing with him, which I've shared on some of my previous episodes, is around 4 months, we found out he has a slight tongue tie. So he
Mm.
actually still to this day, like, hasn't successfully taken a bottle at all. Like, so he
Oh,
only is
yeah.
eating from me. And
Yeah.
so in a crazy, crazy way, like that my weddings this year have just like aligned in a way where I'm still able to nurse him. Like I've
That's
never ever,
amazing.
I live kind of like in a weird, like I almost want to call it like a commuter town. Like it's not like a big
Uh-huh.
city or anything. So like
Yeah.
a lot of my weddings, like I got to go either towards San Francisco or Sacramento.
Yeah.
But I have never had a wedding in the city that I live in until this year. And so my husband was like home with the boys, and then he would just like bring him like on like my break or during dinner or like so I was like
Oh my
10 minutes
gosh.
away from
That's
home. Or
amazing.
like this year, I actually had my first international destination wedding a couple weeks ago. We got
Congrats.
from thank you,
Where was it?
Cabo.
Nice.
So
Nice.
it was me and my husband and my boys. We got to go. The couple was absolutely amazing. They were so just like supportive of like my situation too, like with Colby and just welcoming. Like literally had us like going to like their little welcome dinner and like all of this stuff.
Aw.
So, but it was so incredible to have this experience because not only do I get to be fulfilled by this experience, like I love travel, I love my job, I love
Mhm.
having my family along, and now I felt so like it just felt like a really big deal, to be honest. Gosh, every time I talk about this, I start to get emotional.
Oh, I
But
love that.
it's because like my husband is the primary breadwinner in our house right now.
Mhm.
But like this trip felt like I get to treat you guys,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? And so
Yeah.
that felt like so amazing to finally have that opportunity
Mhm.
fulfilled. And it's been something I've been working towards for so many years now.
Yeah.
But also to have it happen like this year when it's like, okay, the bride's getting ready on the sixth floor, but my baby's on the second floor. Like, so we're good. Like I'm shooting right now in the courtyard, but I can stop in and like take care of him and then just go back up, you know? So
How beautiful is that? Like how I love how like you teared up from gratitude
yeah.
because it literally does feel like a dream
Hmm.
job. Like we have to when we pause and we pinch ourselves, like I get to do this and make money and
Yes.
like my family's here and like what? Oh my gosh.
Yes,
I'm
it's
so
like
happy for you.
incredible. Thank you. And it's just like and it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier is like I think that like I just try to remain like very open. Like coming into this year, like January, February are always like my slowest months, right? And like coming into this year and Colby was born in August, and so I gave myself 2 months off last year. And then for me, I do a ton of family photography
Mhm.
because before I went full time, like I was probably still shooting for about 10 years before that and just built up like clientele in my hometown nearby. And so
Mhm.
it's like now I have all these repeat clients for years and years and years. It's so busy, like October through December.
Oh yeah.
I had a baby who was 2 months old, just like I'll show up my chest and like, come on, kid, we gotta go take some pictures, you know?
Oh my gosh, that's
So,
amazing.
um,
Wow.
so once like the new year hit, I was like, all right, I need a slow month. I need
Yeah.
this month, you know? And I didn't really want to like touch photography, to be honest, because like I just needed like that reset.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
I did a podcast episode, I think in April, once I got on the podcast again. I was like, you know what? This is how like the first quarter of the year went for me. And I called it Trust Fall with the Universe because
Hmm.
I literally just wanted to feel good. So whatever, like I woke up and it was like, what's gonna feel good today about like
Yeah.
spending the time with my boys or whatever it was. Like, and it led me to like this crazy actual like creative side hustle, creative outlet that I have. I actually kind of do oh my gosh, why can't graphic t-shirts. I couldn't think of
Oh,
the word.
cool. Yeah, yeah.
Graphic t-shirts. And I had like this crazy thing like happen then in the month of January because I kept feeling pulled towards like my t-shirt side hustle. And so I was like, well, let's just see what happens. And like I had this one shirt that just popped off like entirely.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is going on? I've never had this happen. I don't know. It was just like sometimes
That's
you just have to like
amazing.
feel and follow, you know?
It's so true. But,
Mhm,
and it's like it's magnetism. It's this kind of like,
mhm,
yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but I've also when my business really like skyrocketed was when I just like stopped giving all the fucks about what people thought of me and was unapologetically myself, shared
mhm,
what I wanted to share when I wanted to share it,
mhm.
shot things the way I wanted to shoot them. Like I had this like long run of just like straight up like I do what I want when I want. It
Yeah.
was just beautiful, and that's what creates the success. And because then we're limitless on how much energy we have.
Mhm,
It's like
mhm.
limitless. We don't get burnt out, and that's why I'm so passionate about talking about as soon as you start noticing that something is draining your energy in your business, like
Right.
editing or culling or album design or creating
Mhm.
slideshows, like that means your soul has gone to promotion. It's time to get support with that so that you can have the spaciousness to spend more time doing what you love most, right?
Right. Right.
Because if we're just like pushing and pushing and like it
Hmm.
just feels so hard
Doesn't
to sit
feel
down at the
good.
computer at work if you're just doing things that just frustrate you or bore
Right.
you, right?
Right.
Yeah. And then where's the creativity there? It
Ugh.
doesn't exist.
Oh my gosh. Wait. Okay. I love how you phrase that. Your soul has promoted. That is such a
Yeah.
great way to look at it because, like, I think so often we label that as burnout and that has that negative connotation. But when you say, hey, my soul has promoted, I need to like open myself up for the next level, that's such a great, like, positive mindset shift around that. I love it.
Yeah, it makes it
Very
more
cool.
exciting to get out of your comfort zone to do problem solve it
Hmm.
instead of like staying in fear of like, but how am I even gonna get to have someone trust to do things like I want
Hmm.
them? And like,
Hmm.
it's more about the, okay, well, I know there's like 99% of businesses in the whole world run with employees and support.
Right.
Like if it's, and they're very profitable. Like if it's possible for them, it's possible for me. Let me find a solution. Like
Hmm.
if you're like, my soul's ready for something more. Like I just don't want to settle my life,
Right.
then you can be ready to be like, I'm just going to do what it takes to find the solution, make it happen. And then
Yeah.
it's not that scary.
One of the other things actually I thought about when you were talking about your first year of motherhood and running your business with your son now
Yeah.
is before Colby was born, I just had Brody. I actually recorded a free master class called Running Your Business with a Baby. And
Yeah.
like the freebie that I gave away in there was just like an example of like what my week looks like.
Ooh, yeah.
And it sounds very similar to kind of like how you had yours structured. It's very much so like, all right,
Uh,
this is the time frame me and my baby go on a walk and we'll go to the park, or like,
mhm.
or this is the time that we're flexible and we can kind of pick and choose the thing that we want to do.
Yeah.
This is the work day. So,
Yeah.
oh great, now I lost like my train of thought where I was going with that.
It's
Shoot.
okay. You know what I do? I just reverse my body and how it moved going in, and then I remember.
Like, let me remember this. Sarah and I are on Zoom together, so wish you could see it,
Yeah.
but we're
I
roboting
just did
over
the robot.
here. Oh my gosh. I wish you lived closer. I would hang out with
I
you all
know.
the time.
Totally. Totally.
Oh
Yeah.
man, and it would be so fun.
You
Our
were
boys
saying
could
like
play.
I know. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Teleportation. Get
Right?
on with it.
Right.
You were
Um,
saying like like I similarly like you had this time
Schedule.
for this time, go to the park.
Yes, but I can't remember
Yeah.
what I was gonna say something about. Shoot, I
That's
totally
okay.
lost that. I totally
That's
lost
okay.
that. It's fine.
Yeah.
Um, Dang it. I really
Those
can't.
are the worst brain farts,
Hmm
man.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I did have a question for you. So I'm like, let's just
Oh,
move forward,
perfect.
and I'm sure
Yeah.
that it's going to come back to me like
Yeah.
once we stop recording, but it's fine.
Yeah.
So I did take a look at your site, of course, before we hopped on the podcast, and you mentioned on your site that you use movement to like come back to yourself, like when you're feeling out
Mhm.
of balance. So can you share with us, like, what does that look like for you in your daily life?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. So before having a baby, movement was just a part. It was such an ingrained habit that was just my time. I enjoyed it. Like
Mhm.
it was not even a question of like, oh, I need to like motivate myself to
Right,
like go to yoga or
right,
go for a run. Sometimes, of course, in a little bit, but like not like, oh, this is so hard.
right.
And then pregnancy, man, like I was motivated to like work out for the like first trimester, no nausea. Second trimester, oh, okay, let's work out.
Hmm
Third trimester, my excuses, one, I actually didn't have a hard pregnancy. I know I could have worked out,
Right.
but there was something magical about me being like, I just want to say fuck it, and I just want to eat Nutella on the couch, like by the tub, and just be doubted on, and just say, no, I can't go for a walk. I'm too lazy.
Yeah. It's
I
so
had
easy
that
to just like
experience.
lean on the pregnancy, be like,
Yeah, exactly.
pregnant.
I did that. I would not do that again. If I had a
Mhm,
second, I would not do it again
mhm.
because the recovery after was harder. Everything felt
Yeah,
harder.
yeah.
I was always super athletic. Like I've
Hmm
never felt it like everything was so hard to do in my body.
So true.
Like it was just so hard that it took me a while to like I feel like I'm just getting to the rhythm. The last 6 months has been the most consistent I've been in like moving my body again in the last 3 years. And I'm
Mhm.
so excited because I feel like I have that like part of myself back that it feels easy again.
Yes.
And so I think what motivates me and like when I need that like energetic shift, I reframe it as like from something I have to do to either lose weight or feel more confident or because that can always affect us, right? Like we always if our clothes aren't fitting, it's like,
Hmm
well, fuck, I don't want to buy all new clothes because my
So
weight
true.
easily
Right.
fluctuates 5 to 7 pounds, right? And
Right. Yeah,
if I'm
same.
fluctuated like 7 pounds, like my shorts like are so tight and they're not
Hmm
comfortable. So it's like I
hmm
want to lose the weight, and then we can easily self-talk ourselves about not losing the weight. So that doesn't work for me.
Right.
If my motivation is I want to lose weight, it doesn't work. But what has shifted for me, and I feel like I got that part of me back, is like this is time for me to just this is just time for me. It's
hmm
time for me away from work, away from other people, away. This is just Sarah time. And that has made it so much more exciting and like it's like I don't want to miss going to yoga on
Yeah.
4:30 at 4:30
Right.
most days. And another thing that's really fun is I'm like, oh, I want to collect time for me. I don't know about you. Have you ever had a collection when you were a kid?
Yes.
Like I used to have collect crystals, of course I still do. But like crystals, rocks, bottle caps, whatever. I that exciting feeling of like finding the next thing to add to your
Yeah.
collection is like so exciting. And so now I have like a very simple habit tracker app where I get to collect check marks throughout the week of like
Mhm.
I did my workout today and it wasn't a workout to lose weight. It was workout, so it's time for me and for me to go and become the best version of me, for my own vitality.
Right.
And I love like getting to my mat at yoga
Mm-hmm.
and deciding at the very start, even if I'm feeling crappy, because usually we feel crappy going to a workout. It's either we ate too much, we didn't eat enough, or lightheaded, or we're tired from the
Mm-hmm.
workday. But no matter how I'm feeling, I tell myself now, I'm deciding now to not let my thoughts lead the way through my workout. I'm deciding now that I'm just going to do every pose.
Yep.
Like right now, I'm just going to do every pose. There's no excuses. I'm just going to do it. My body will tell me how far to go. There's some days we feel stronger. There's some days we don't feel as strong, but I'm going to stay in it. And that has been revolutionary because I decide that. I tell myself that. I tell my brain that. And throughout the whole class, I have like no thoughts. It's like quiet, no
Yeah.
distractions. I hear people like around me, like if someone's like, if the teacher is like, okay, we're going to do some core now. And I hear, oh, like huffing and puffing and complain and that reaction of like I don't the resistance, right? And I'm just
Right.
like, okay, plank. Okay. And if I'm like, oh, this feels a little hard right now, I'm like, oh, she just said three more breaths. I could do anything for three more breaths. And it
Right.
just becomes so simplified, so nourishing. And I see my body just naturally forming to what it used to be, but without the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel stronger. And so really that's the way that I love to move in a way that feels like simplified and nourishing and not so hard, not like something you have to battle with. You know what I
Right.
mean?
So would you say that yoga is your favorite form of movement?
I think so. It's just like the thing that can make you stronger, stretches you at the same time, and also helps you focus on your breath. It's not like, us women, we have like 28 day cycles, like not like men have 24-hour cycles in energy.
Yeah.
So on the weeks that I have my period, like I can go anyway and be on my mat and maybe I'll take a few more child's poses if I have cramps, but I'm lucky I don't really have bad cramps.
Yeah.
So I get to still fully work out. And I also do weights,
Hmm. I
but I
love
do
those
yoga
too.
more currently.
Mhm.
But I love weight training because I just feel like so
Same.
jacked and like a beast right after. I'm like, I can
So
do anything.
awesome. I
Yeah.
love it. What's your
Yeah.
background like with sports growing up? Like what were you primarily into?
Oh my gosh, so many things. I fucking love sports. Like
Yeah, same.
playing them, not watching. Watching, I'm like, no, I'd
Well, I'm
rather be
like
there
that too.
playing. Yeah.
I like to like go to a baseball game, but it's more so for the atmosphere. I'm like, I care less
Yeah.
about the game. I would just give me a hot dog or something.
Exactly. Yeah. But so mainly where I started was track and field.
Okay.
So I was racing a lot in track and field in elementary school and it carried over into high school.
Hmm.
And then cross country,
Okay.
volleyball,
Hmm.
basketball,
Okay.
tennis, like so many things. I would say I excelled most in running.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it was running. Running was like the thing I was like best at out of everything. And everything else I just had so much fun with and
Yeah.
did pretty well. Actually, volleyball I also was pretty good at. So
Very cool.
yeah, I love all those things so much.
Yeah, no, same. Like I also did track and field from like when I was little, but my main sport was basketball. I played
Oh,
soccer for
nice.
quite a while, but yeah, I ended up playing basketball in college for a
What
little bit.
position?
Point guard in
Point
basketball.
guard? Oh, I
Yeah.
had a feeling about that for some
So
reason.
I was actually, so it's
Yeah.
actually really cool. And you're gonna relate to this, having played
Yeah.
basketball yourself.
Mhm.
I have talked about this on the podcast in the past, and I'm like, okay, if you're not a basketball player and you don't even know what a point guard is, this makes no sense to you. But
Yeah.
but I love being a
Telling
wet
people what to do? No, I'm
marker.
just joking.
Well, actually, no, not at all.
Sorry.
Because like the person that I am, like growing up, like I was like a pretty like reserved, like shy kid. I feel like I
Hmm.
really didn't come like out of my bubble until I got to college because what did we have? Oh, what's that? I can't even think of the word. But like when you get somewhere and then you're like meeting all the people, there's like a certain word.
Orientation?
Thank you. Thank
Oh,
you. Yes, I'm like I couldn't think of it. But
yeah.
anyway, there's like the orientation. They had all these little like fun like icebreaker to kind of games. And in that moment, I remember having a conscious thought. I'm like, literally none of these people know that I'm shy.
Yeah.
I don't have to be shy anymore. I can just be myself. And it's kind of was weird because I'm like,
Yeah.
I've never not been shy. I don't know. It was just this
Okay,
weird,
this
like,
is crazy that you're saying this because I had the exact same experience elementary school to high school because
really?
elementary school I lived in a totally different
Where were
city
you
and
at?
I was bullied.
Oh,
Bolton, Mississauga in Ontario,
Okay.
Canada.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I say I don't know any
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
those
you don't know.
locations,
Yeah,
but
you don't know.
very cool.
But I was like bullied a lot
Oh,
there and I just like was super like just could not be social and all the
yeah,
things. And then we moved to a whole new city, whole new high school, didn't know anyone. And I was just like first day, I'm like I had the exact same moment. I'm like,
that's
wait,
cool.
no one here knows me. No one here knows how I act. I
Hmm.
get to choose now. I'm
Yeah.
gonna fucking be the one in the driver's seat. And
Yes.
I'm gonna choose now that I'm confident and I'm like, I don't give a fuck what people think because
Yeah.
that was miserable.
Yeah.
Like, and it,
Wow.
yeah,
I've actually never talked to someone who's had that same kind of like moment so consciously.
wow.
Um,
That's me neither. Me neither. But yeah.
Thankfully, I didn't have like any issues like being like bullied like growing up. But for me, I
Mhm.
was just like I had like my one like childhood best friend. We just stuck together and like hung out
Yeah.
for like 10 years straight, yet enduring,
The comfort blanket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was like that. We're still friends to this day. So, um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. And then like once college hit, it's like had that like moment too, and then here we are. And now I talk way more. And my siblings are like, "You talk so much now," and I'm like, I'm just making up for lost time, you guys.
Yeah. That's
No, sit
awesome.
down
I
and
love
listen,
that.
okay?
So is that what you were gonna say about the point guard
Yeah,
thing?
so point guard,
Yeah.
I never have like loved I never loved public speaking. Even in college, like if I had to like do public speaking like or some sort of presentation in class, like not my favorite.
Yeah.
So again, like the people who've known me for a long time or like my brothers and my sister, they're like, "You're on a podcast? Like what are you doing?" You know?
Yeah.
But now I really enjoy it. But oh gosh, am I losing my train of thought again?
Was it the
Oh, the
point
point guard
guard thing
thing.
where you felt like yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I now when I run wedding days, and especially
Hmm.
like during formals or like the bridal party, I am doing the same thing that I did as
Right.
a point guard. I'm like, hey, you need to come
Yeah.
over here, you need to do this, da 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 da. It's like the
Yeah.
exact same. And I was like, wait, once I saw it from that perspective, it was so much more comfortable for me.
Right.
As
I
opposed
love
to like
that.
viewing it as like more of like a public speaking type of thing or being in front of this large group, I was like, no,
Yeah.
I'm the point guard.
Oh, that's
I direct
cool.
what happens here on the court, you know?
Yeah. And people need the direction. They
Hmm.
want it and they want it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So
I
I
love
love
that.
this. I love that we have such similar backgrounds. It's been really, really fun to like learn all
Yeah.
this about you so far.
Yeah.
So what does it look like? So you're going to yoga every day now?
I would say it's like 3 to 4 times a week.
Okay. That's really
Yeah.
good. And
I know.
so
I love it.
for me, actually, one of the things that I learned a couple years ago before I had my second born, is like I would get into these modes of like, oh my gosh, I need to get back into the gym. Probably that mindset around like, I'm not feeling good. I need to lose weight, kind of more of
Yeah.
that. And it's like I need to start going 3 times a week, like now. And that would be great for like a month, and then I
Mm,
would just kind of hit a wall with it. And so I became way more consistent when I said, "Hey, I found this one class that I like at the gym. I'm
yeah.
going to go there once a week and that's it and just see what
Yeah.
happens." And I became more consistent because it was like I wasn't putting this crazy pressure on myself. And then I found that kind of like how you did of like I really love going to this class. And on
Yeah.
top of it, like I was going to go all out and give it my best effort because this is literally the 1 hour that I have for myself to
Hmm.
so it's like you want to show up and do your best for yourself too. You don't just want to give to everybody else all the time and forget about yourself.
Yeah.
That really changed everything for me because it's like I end up doing more throughout the course of a year as opposed to,
Hmm.
that 1 month where I thought I was going to go 3 to 4 times a week or whatever.
Oh, I totally agree. I've had those moments too where I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm going ham, I'm just gonna go hard, I'm gonna do this
Mhm.
weights class and this and this. And then my body gets so sore after a
Right.
certain class that I need 4 days recovery because I really like pushed with
Yes.
like lifting weights. So I'm like, why the fuck did I kill my
Right.
body? So it's the whole I love the idea of like 1% better,
Hmm.
right? And it's
Hmm.
and consistency. So if you
Right.
just you're 1% better for a month is like going to one class a month. It's like then
Hmm.
you're like that becomes easy. That becomes your new
Well,
normal.
then
That
it kind
becomes
of
your
like
new comfort
naturally
zone.
builds.
It
Yeah.
does. Yeah, it does. And you're like, I want more of this. I like how I
Right.
feel after this class. I want to feel this way more days, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it becomes this good addiction of like
Right.
endorphin addiction,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And yeah, and I love also how you even, connected with me and you're like, we need to talk about this, about how like moving our bodies actually makes us better photographers because I now have the experience like before having Ben,
Hmm.
I didn't at all understand when photographers said, "Oh my God, a double header wedding day." I'm like physically exhausted after that. I'm like before that I was like always just working out like 4 or 5 times a
Right.
week easily. Like double header wedding days are so I don't like sure maybe like my brain is a little like oh like
Right.
my eyes, but
Right.
like my body, I just wake up, I'm good to go, right? I never
Right.
understood it until my postpartum body when
Hmm.
I was like, whoa, like I haven't worked out in a long time. I was like 30 pounds, I think, heavier than I normally was, which was so hard to carry around with me on a wedding day
Right.
and tires me out. If I'm sitting in squat position to wait for a moment, I'm like, oh, I used to be able to sit in this for like 2 minutes, two and a half
Right.
minutes, and now I'm like 30 seconds and my legs are burning and it's affecting how I'm able to focus or like wait enough time for it to get a shot, right? So
Right.
it really has an effect and
It does.
yeah, yeah.
I actually, one of the, you were talking about your postpartum earlier, and one of the things that crossed my mind is after having Brody, my oldest, um, so I gained 40 pounds with him.
Hmm.
And thankfully, he was a big baby, so a lot of that went away really
Oh
quick.
yeah.
Um, but afterwards, like one thing that I used to try to do, even like before he was born, like if I was like feeling really out of whack, like with like my activity levels, et cetera, and I wanted to really slowly get back into it, literally what I would do in a day is like, I'm going to do 5 bodyweight squats today and one
Hmm.
push-up. And I would do
Yeah.
that for a week. And then the next week it'd be like 10 bodyweight squats and 2 push-ups. And I would do that for weeks and weeks and weeks until I built up like to this crazy amount of squats and
Yeah.
push-ups throughout the day.
Yeah.
So after having Brody, I was like, okay, that's how I'm going to start. So I did my 5 squats and I get down to do my push-up. I almost face planted. And I was like, what the heck? I
I
was so
know.
thrown off because I was like, wait a minute. I had no idea that you use your abs that much in a push-up
Right? Oh my
because
God,
I had
so
always just
true.
been fit.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
then, like, the first time that I went on a run after having him, and I was like, why does my stomach hurt?
Yeah.
I was like, I
Yeah.
had no idea for push-ups or running that you use your abs that much until your abs are just demolished after having
Yeah.
a child.
It's so true. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
I remember we would do Rory and I would do like push-up challenges where it's like you just for 30 days you add a push-up every
Yeah.
day and then get to day 25 and you're like pushing out 25 and
Right.
sometimes you have to do like 10 in the morning, 10 in the
Yeah.
15 in the evening, whatever.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I remember before like literally 4 months before I was pregnant, I was doing 25 push-ups in a row,
Yeah.
proper toes, like
Right.
fast.
Mm-hmm.
No problem. And then after pregnancy, I'm like
Oh my
one,
gosh.
two.
Oh my gosh.
I can't do more.
It's
And I'm
so
like,
it's
no, I
so
want that
crazy.
strength back.
It's so crazy. Oh, and then the other thing too is like, so I was about 6 months pregnant with Brody, and then COVID hit. And I
Yeah.
so badly wanted to be like that pregnant lady who's like kicking ass at the gym,
Yeah.
super pregnant. And I was like, I, my husband, I don't think he listens to these podcasts, so it's fine. But
Yeah.
we would go to the gym together. And this is like right before everything shut down for COVID. And we'd be like on the elliptical next to each other. And I was like, what is wrong with you? I am going way faster than you. And I am 6 months pregnant. We're going like 4 miles on the elliptical. I was like,
That's
I need
impressive.
speed. Come on, man. Like,
I love that.
um, so I was super pissed, honestly, when they shut everything
Yeah.
down. Because then I was talking to my doctor, and I was like, "Well, what the hell am I supposed to do now?" She's like, "Go
Yeah.
on a walk," and I was like, "A walk? That is not gonna
Yeah.
cut it for where I'm at, lady." So
Yeah.
my husband, he's got like punching bags and stuff like in our garage, and so what I ended up doing is the speed bag. I love
Oh,
doing the
nice.
speed bag. It was like a really fun like activity because it's like challenging for like your
Your
focus,
focus. Yeah, it's so
but
meditative.
also
Yeah.
just like having your arms up like that, like you're still like getting in your
Mhm.
cardio and just like a different type of fun
That's cool.
sport,
Yeah.
you know? So that was really fun. But with when I was pregnant with Colby, I finally got the chance to like be that lady in the gym. Like
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
like going to
nice.
my class and doing like, standing on one leg, like balancing
Yeah.
crazy. I was like, yes, look at me, I'm 32 weeks pregnant. Woo!
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so
So
happy you had that experience. Oh,
yeah, so
yeah.
fun. Still gained 40 pounds with him, but
Yeah.
got to do the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Um,
awesome.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I feel like we keep getting, I feel like I haven't even like asked you all the questions I want to ask because we're talking about like being badass.
We could do a, hey, speaking of a speed bag, we could do a speed round and you could just be like, okay, here are the questions and
Yeah,
like do like a bam, bam,
there
bam,
we
thinking
go.
man.
There we go. Let's see if we can do that. As a wedding photographer, constantly in motion, how do you
Mhm.
practice staying grounded and present during high energy events?
Okay. Honestly, like I always tune myself in the mornings to say it's not about me, it's about them.
Hmm.
And this whole day has nothing, it's not about me. It's not about my life. It's not about my needs. It's not about my wants. And
Hmm.
I end up becoming so like selfless and so in like serving mode and helping and being there for others mode that I get in that kind of flow of just like I'm just tuning into what the day needs and what the story needs from me and
Hmm.
I just go
Yeah.
and it's the best feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Well, my next question was going to be if there's like
Yeah.
any rituals or practices, but I guess that would be it. Is
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
like any particular ritual or practice that you have like after the wedding?
Well, actually before the wedding, another ritual that's really important is for me to I study actually the names of the immediate family members and wedding party so that I can even more so like earn their trust faster and easier when, you know,
Mhm.
the mom opens the door to the getting ready location. I'm like, "Oh, hey, you must be Sue." Like obviously if I have a good sense, right? Like
Right.
the bride's mom, for example. She's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah. Hi." I'm like, "Oh, hi, I'm Sarah, the photographer." She's like, "Come in." They just like let their guard
Uh-huh.
down. They
Yeah.
trust me so much more faster. They
Yeah.
show their emotion around me so much more because I've like showed that I care. So
Mhm.
that's another big ritual is just like
Mhm.
really I memorize those names and stuff. And then after a wedding day, I would say it's just, funnily enough, the nerd alert here is just like pressing play on my like my workflow right after a wedding day. I just have everything like after a wedding day, this happens and this happens to make sure that they have the best experience with sneak peeks. The turnaround time is fast and actually it's my I was going to share this with everybody at the end of the episode, but it's my 3 hour post-wedding workflow checklist.
Mhm.
So it's essentially my step-by-step process of what I outsource, what I delegate, and when throughout the process so that I work 70% less on my computer.
I
So I
love.
would call that a ritual because
Yes.
it takes care
Mhm.
of me and it also takes care of my clients because they get their photos in a very quick time frame. Everything is done really well. Yeah. So if you guys want to grab that, you can I have the link probably in the show notes, but it's saramonica.com/workflow, and you guys can get my exact step process. So
Perfect.
that's
Yeah.
like a ritual that I'm like so proud of because it took so many years of like iteration and all of that, and it's just so smooth now, and I love it. I just after a wedding day, I don't have that stress of like, oh, I have all these things to do to post
Right.
process. It's just a system that works, and yeah, I love it.
Two kind of follow-up questions to
Yeah.
that. So what does that look like? Like, are you literally getting home that night and then you are jumping into that workflow and like getting those raws out to your editor, or is that part of it? Or are you waiting like till the next work day?
Oh, good question. So usually, so when I come back from a wedding day, I'm like wi like mentally wired still, even if
Hmm.
I sometimes have to drive home 3 hours.
Right.
Like I'm just like mentally like wired because there's so much energy that day. It like filled me. I need at least an hour to decompress, even if it's 12 a.m., 1 a.m. I
Yep.
need an hour to just like have a snack, sit down, watch something, and then I would go to sleep. So
Mhm.
in that hour, what I always do is like backup photos. Then I take a, I like start the backup first, then I shower, and that shower is the most best shower
Yes.
ever.
So
Like, right?
true.
It's like
So
I did
true.
it, I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I back up my photos that night, and then I have them upload to a Lightroom catalog. And that same night, I'm able to within that hour. Sometimes it takes maybe an hour and a half, but zip up the catalog and I automatically send it to my virtual assistant
Hmm.
who will then cull it for me, and my culls are ready for me every single Monday. So it's like
Amazing.
clockwork. Every single Monday after every single wedding weekend, a cull is ready for me. Then I quality check it.
Hmm.
And then when I quality check it, I choose like which photos I'm going to pre-edit for the sneak peek and get those some ready for my editor. And then I run it through Imagen AI, so I get a really strong base edit.
Okay, that was
I
my
don't
next
use,
question.
yeah, I don't
Okay.
use AI for like the one and
Right.
only thing to edit for me. It's just a stronger base preset, the way that I see it.
Yes.
It's like it gets your images 50% there
Yeah,
instead of how it
totally.
used to be like 10% there.
Hmm.
And then usually Tuesday afternoon, the sneak peeks are sent, and I send the catalog to my editor, and
Hmm.
then they take it from there. And then again, I have so many other steps in that workflow, which you guys can get in the show notes. But that's like how I started off. So by Tuesday evening every week, I'm like done for
That's
that wedding.
incredible. Okay, wait. So let me clarify this.
Yeah.
So when you are doing your edits, you're
Hmm.
running it through Imagine. You're saying that's like a 50% edit. And
Yeah.
are you running that only on, let's say, 50 photos, and those are the sneaks that you're sending out, and then those are
Oh,
like your
good
anchor
question.
images?
Good question. No, I run it on all the chosen images that are going to
Okay.
be delivered to my client
Hmm.
because I haven't. So I get my editor to like finish the edit. So
Right.
instead of me wasting my time, because I'm
Totally.
all about maximizing my time saved,
Yes.
right? Because
Yes.
if you only use Imagen AI, sure, it'll save you 50% of your time, but I'm here for saving even more, like 40. Like I literally save 90% of my time with the combination of AI plus an editor.
See, I never thought
Um,
about this. I had always
yeah.
thought about it as one or the other. So I've been really leaning
Mm,
into Imagine AI
yeah.
because it's getting like closer and closer because you know how it like
Yeah.
refines your
It
style.
does.
Like I am like this close to like that next refinement, and I know it's gonna be right there. It's been
Yeah,
working amazingly like on the family session since the lighting's always a little bit more even, you know.
exactly.
But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, still fine tuning all the wedding stuff. But now adding
yeah.
that
Mhm.
extra step of having an editor on the other end,
Yeah,
that would be relieving at this point.
exactly. And it
Right?
depends on what people photograph. Like for weddings, I use a lot of like brushwork and also distraction removal. Now it's amazing inside Lightroom to just remove like a cord or like an exit sign or like
Right.
even just people's shiny foreheads during like reception photos with flash, right? Just
Mhm.
to make them not look sweaty, like things like
Right.
that. I was like, I don't want to spend my time doing it. An editor could do it. So
Yeah.
I have an editor overseas in the Philippines, and because the edits are already 50% there, and also because of the conversion rate on our dollar to the Filipino dollar, I literally have my editor edits photos for me using brushwork, like removing distractions, everything for like 15 cents an image. So I end up getting all my
Crazy.
photos edited for like 20 cents an image. Canadian dollars. So
Yeah, but
US is
still,
even less.
that's crazy. How
Yeah.
did you find
Oh,
someone?
and wait,
This is
before
insane.
I know
Okay, hold on.
this could be a
This
whole
is
nother episode. But
crazy. This is
but I just
amazing. I have
want
so many
yeah.
questions.
But I just want you guys to know, like, so some, like, if you're just a portrait, like a portrait photographer and you shoot in studio all the time, easy light, like your Imagen AI could pretty much, I think you could get it to the point where it's like there, and then you're going to spend maybe 20, 30 minutes
Yes.
fixing those little tiny things. Like
Right, right,
it could be there, right?
right.
Weddings are a whole nother thing.
So
There's so many
different.
different lighting
Hmm.
situations, brushwork, all
Hmm.
of that. So I'm saying use the combination if like AI just isn't there yet after you've
Right,
trained it, right?
right.
So yeah, just a little thing there.
How on earth did you find someone in the Philippines?
So that is a whole that is a big question
That's a
because there's
different episode.
so it's essentially so this is what I teach inside my outsourcing made easy program,
Hmm.
where like my main framework for this, there's three things that everyone needs to remember when they're looking to hire for any type of support in your business, whether it's hiring a virtual assistant or an editor. You need to make sure that you know how to magnetically hire, so you know exactly how to put together the job posting, how to know spot the red flags, how to spot the green flags, how to interview
Right.
them, how to give them a test catalog to see how they would actually do, right? There's so many steps there, but so there's magnetic hiring, and then you would need to have smart outsourcing workflows ready to go and in place so that when you find your editor, you know how to manage them and how to like set things up. So they know the expectations of deadlines and like
Yeah.
how to send the catalog, how to quality
Right.
check. There's like so many steps. And then effective communication is the third piece.
Right.
Because even if you find someone amazing and then you have your smart outsourcing workflows in place, if you don't have effective communication over time, you'll notice that things just kind of stall and you're like, well, I'm kind of happy, but I'm settling with my editor. Why can't they get better? Or like,
Mm-hmm.
why can't I save more time?
Right.
So it's really, you need those three ingredients to
Right.
really have a system that like works really well and to make sure you have the right person.
Yeah, no, this is incredible because like I have tried, hiring out an editor in the
Hmm.
past. Again, but for me, I always looked at it as one or the other.
Yeah.
So tongue-tied right now.
Yeah.
Um, um, and it's not that I've had poor experiences, like they've been good experiences, but I think for me there was always still had to be a next step of me going through it entirely and like it's probably a perfectionism problem on my
No,
end.
there is a step of quality checking.
Yeah.
I quality check everything, but there's
Mhm.
a way to do it that's efficient, and there's a way to do it where it will still take you 4 hours to quality
Right.
check it.
See,
There's an
that's
efficient
what
way and
happens to me.
inefficient. Exactly. So it's
Because
just about knowing the like how to do things efficiently and effectively. And that's something that, I mean, I've been doing this for 9 years now. So
right,
I've iterated, perfected these things so that
right.
that's why I, teach photographers this so they don't have to figure out from scratch because it took me like 3, 4 years to
Right.
like making mistakes, wasting money, overspending on things
Hmm.
and not hiring the right people. There's so many, but now I just have like the step-by-step plan.
Well, that's why I was
Yeah.
surprised when you said that you have both Imagine AI and an editor, because I was like, wait, that costs like
Yeah,
much. But then once you explained it, I was like,
exactly.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Extremely smart. Extremely smart.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love that. Off topic again, off topic, but we're having great conversation. So I love
Exactly.
everything that you're sharing. How would you say, like on wedding day, like how do you handle like any overstimulation that might arise, or
Mm.
just like the social energy, or if there's like any anxious moments that you experience?
I love that question. Okay, something I recently learned about, and now I know how to actually answer this question like more specifically because I learned about something about myself. I
Hmm.
took this assessment. It's called six working years. It's called Working Genius.
Hmm.
And there's six different types of working genius that people have, and there are two that are like green light. Like these are the top things that we love and we can always just be doing and love in our work, in our business, in our even in family life, everything. Two are kind of like we're competent at them, and they're like like a yellow like, yeah, you could still do these. You don't hate them, you don't love
Right.
them. And then there's the two bottom working frustrations.
Hmm.
And so my two top gifts, working genius, are wonder and discernment.
Okay.
So like I'm a deep thinker. I like to problem solve. I like to really help people figure out where bottlenecks are in their business and how their choices and stuff. And then discernment, like I'm very good at like analyzing all the information and knowing the best choice forward
Right.
in an aligned way. So I'm like, oh, that's fun. I'm so happy. I love that. And like, if you think about a wedding day, it's like I'm doing that constantly. I'm discerning in every step of the way, like where to be, what to shoot, how to connect with this person, right?
Hmm.
And bottom two frustrations are, I think one of them is invention. So I don't like thinking of anything from scratch of like, give me a whiteboard and I'm like,
Oh
what the
yeah.
fuck? I have nothing to
Yeah.
like respond to,
Right.
start with. And then also, um, I think it's, oh, I forget the other one, but it has something to do with one of the frustrations that really hits me and I have to self-regulate myself is when people, there's a person in either the wedding party or a family member that can't stop suggesting
Mm.
places for me to take photos.
That's
I
always
I
fun.
need to I'm it literally I feel like a rush of like lava in my body and I just
Yes.
want to fucking explode on them, be
Right.
like, stop talking, you are literally cutting off my creativity and this is
Right.
like please like and I don't it's so rare for me to get angry. I'm
Totally.
anger isn't like a normal way of me expressing myself or being.
Right.
And so that's the one thing that I actually have to figure out how to self-regulate and um I th okay, to be honest, what I do a lot of the times
Oh, I
to
can't wait to
do
hear
that for
this.
myself is I pretend like I didn't hear them. I'm just like pretending to be like so busy and like talking to other people that I like literally just, how some people are like, oh, she probably didn't hear me. And
Yeah.
then they just are too embarrassed to like say it again because they don't want other people to notice that they asked
Right.
twice and the person ignored it. Like, so I
Right.
just, if they don't ask me looking at my face or like real, if I can tell that I'll get away with it, that's how I do it. Cause it's
Yeah.
literally like, I can't, it will. it will spiral me down and it'll waste like
Okay,
2 to 3 minutes of my
yeah.
time. Like,
Well, and then you're gonna
yeah,
like have to feel like, oh yeah, we have to go over there where that
the
lighting sucks, or like,
gazebo, yeah,
the
the
gazebo. That's so
gazebo, the
true.
stairs,
I'm
like,
like, why? No, it's
yeah.
not gonna work.
Yeah, it's like the gazebo shaded and then the whole background forest is overexposed with
Right,
the direct sun and I'm like, no, and it's like, the part of me that is compassionate towards others, like, oh, they
right,
just care and they have a
right,
suggestion or whatever. There are times where I can, again, discernment is one of my gifts. I
right.
can discern when they're asking about that, whether it's they think it's a good photo op versus it's actually something meaningful.
Mm,
So,
hmm.
there's a difference between on these stairs, and then I can tell the way they ask, there's like a different energy about it. And I say, "Oh, why did you suggest the stairs?" And they
Hmm.
say, "Oh, well, this is where she always came down on prom," or like,
Yeah,
those like
it's like a
life
meaningful
moments.
moment.
And I'm
Right.
like, yeah, thank you for
Yes.
telling me, right? And
Yes.
then I get inspired, right?
Right.
Because they approached it from a different energy. If people approach suggesting things to me from a place of like they want a little bit of control or their ego wants to have an idea for the
Mhm.
couple or any of those places, I can sense it. And that's when I try to like ignore it a little
Ignore
bit.
it.
Yeah. Or like, oh, if they're asking me directly, I'm like, oh, like, thank you, but the lighting is bad there. And then I quickly tell myself, like, Sarah, just stay in your zone of genius. Like, you don't have to do anything other people. Like, my mind spirals so quickly there because I don't want to be rude. I don't want to, yeah, but that's that's what I
Can
do. That's the only time I really have to self-regulate.
can you explain really quick, just in case
Yeah.
listeners don't know, when you say stay in your zone of genius, like what
hmm
exactly that means? I
Okay.
I know what you're talking about, but I
Okay,
love this
yeah.
topic.
Mine is for sure my intuition
Hmm.
of like it's like I and it's not just intuition. Another word I recently learned that I'm like this is how to describe it is attunement.
Hmm.
It's being in tune with your own body
Yes.
and your own gut and mind
Hmm.
creating and being inspired all at the same time, but also at the same time being tuned in to what's happening around you using your five senses, like and
Hmm.
hearing people laugh, like smelling a smell, like tuning into a bride. Sometimes I can even tune in and feel, oh, I think she's about to like leave the room. I'm gonna
Yes.
go run over there. And it's like it's like really odd how predictable things can be when you're so tuned in. So I need to be so zoned into that superpower of mine and the less distractions, the better. I always say I wish I could have the Harry Potter invisibility cloak because then no one would fucking suggest anything or
Right.
ask me questions.
I'm trying to start wearing
Uh,
my my headphones to the weddings. Just doing like a
yeah.
silent disco while taking all the photos.
Or I could have a sign on my back says attuning, please do not disturb. Please-
That'd be epic. I need to send you a shirt.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good
Um,
idea.
No, I love that. And it's one of the things actually, I think that there's so many things for me that I pull from being an athlete growing up and like being so involved in team sports that have really contributed to like life lessons and now even like lessons that I can apply to being a photographer. But one thing, so fun story, my parents actually met playing basketball and then I was like the basketball child.
Oh,
So
cool. Yeah.
we're a big basketball family.
Yeah.
And my dad and I talked probably like 80% of our conversations were about basketball. But one of
Yeah.
the things that he always taught me was like, you need to anticipate. Anticipate
Mm,
because it's like, if you know that they're going to pass the ball over here, then you're going to have that opportunity to steal the ball or whatever, right? But
yeah.
it's the same thing as like anticipating what's going to happen. What's going to be the bride's next move? Is she going to get up and leave the room? Is she going to go talk to mom and have a moment with mom or,
Yeah.
da da da. Like, and I think when you have um that awareness and can
hmm
anticipate those moments that can just like elevate how you show up as a photographer and like you
hmm
were saying and then pair that with like the energy that you were talking about like in your mind in your body in your heart like all the things once you're like combining all of these like you're just able to really embrace like that presence as the photographer and show up and be your most creative self in those moments.
I love that you brought that up. That was such a great way of explaining it. And it actually, the anticipation, if we do that, the more we do that in a room when we're like, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, we can even be like, oh, if this happens, then I will be ready with my camera from this angle or these settings or And
Yes,
that's how we can, yeah. Isn't it just like mind-blowing how so many things can be happening at the same time
I
in
know,
our,
brain.
like we're tuned into ourselves and other people and also figuring out settings. Like it blows my mind how quickly our brains work and process
Oh,
things and
yeah.
the energy around us.
There's
It's
so
insane.
many factors too. I mean, a few things that are coming up for me, like as we're talking about this, is I saw recently another photographer shared like a reel that talks about like just having like a good personality as a
Yeah.
photographer is
Yeah.
so important.
Oh, I think I saw that. Kate.
Nathan
Oh, no,
Nathan
no, no, not no. Chansky?
Chansky.
Yeah, yeah, no, I didn't see
I think
his.
it
I
was
saw
his.
someone else. I saw someone
Okay.
else. But yeah,
But
yeah.
it is. And like I think part of like having a good personality is not only that like obviously like being able to connect with everyone or like build trust like you were talking about like remembering the names, but also like bringing so for me, like I can see sometimes like a lot of photographers like they have like a really big energy and they're like your
Mm.
hype person. And I think that's great in some moments, but I think
Yeah.
there's also times where you need your energy to a little bit more like go with the flow. Like if you're noticing
Mhm.
like different things, depends on what's happening throughout
Yeah.
the day, you know? So for me, I always try to find that like more go with the flow. Like there could be
Hmm.
something catastrophic that happens. Like what if their cake falls over or something? But
Yeah.
at the same time, like I can recognize like, hey, I'm here to tell their story with my work. And even if
Yeah.
that's not an ideal part today, that might be something that they see and like, oh my gosh, remember this happened, like when they look back, you know?
Yeah.
There's so many different things. So that is coming up for me. And just hearing like the way that you talk, I'm not sure if this is something that you've heard of, but this is something that I learned about myself maybe about 2-ish years ago now, is being HSP,
Oh, yeah.
highly sensitive
Highly
person.
sensitive person.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
one of my closest friends, she's like my soul sister. She's also a photographer. She photographed my wedding. She was
Yeah.
actually the one who brought it up to me and she learned about it. And she's like, "Hey, when I learned about this and that I'm HSP, she's like, I kept thinking about you because you and I are so similar." And then I started researching it. I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes, I am definitely HSP."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, I just felt like I knew myself so much better. And like it's not that I ever had like unanswered questions about how why I
Mhm.
am the way that I am. But all of a sudden I was like, wait, that's why, this thing happens, or that's why da da da,
Yeah.
And I feel that so much on wedding days because I feel like that's part of where my energy comes from. Um, like being creative in a way that is connected,
Yes.
having
Yeah.
that awareness and anticipation. And
Hmm.
then, like you said, there's so much happening within ourselves being attuned but also knowing, okay, I have, and I don't know what you shoot with, like I have like my film camera over here and I have my digital over here, but I also have like this little thing and knowing the settings and what's going to work best and like, do I use the flash or da da da. So there's so much happening just in us, on us, but then you're
Yeah.
also like reading the room of all the people and what's going to happen. Like it's so cool.
It is. Yeah.
One thing I actually saw on your website that I
Yeah.
loved was someone left you a review that you have posted, and they talked about how like you were literally like bouncing around all over the place, and they wish they could have seen like your Fitbit for the day.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved that, and I was like, that's so true.
Yeah. They're like, how were you everywhere? Like,
Yeah.
how are you everywhere but nowhere at the same time because we didn't notice you? Like, that's my best favorite
Hmm.
compliment. And I'm like, I'm
Hmm.
telling you, it's the invisibility cloak.
Well, and it's like I'm assuming you know Daniel Kim.
No. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I think so. I think
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I love Daniel Kim's work, and I
Yeah.
actually had the opportunity to. I didn't photograph a wedding with him, but I was out in the city helping him out for some like pre-ceremony photos
Hmm.
about a year and a half ago.
That's awesome.
And he is very much so that energy because I was there like right at the beginning of the wedding, like very much so like bouncing around all over the place. But he
Yeah.
also is someone that like he's sharing on his stories that he's like training, like he does jujitsu and like he does all this stuff. And I feel it's like when it's the photographers that are also mindful about their movement are
Yeah.
the ones who are all over the place and can be in all the places and have the awareness and have the energy to back it up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So,
so true.
and
Yeah.
that spills over into the creativity.
Yeah. Everything interconnected.
Yeah. Also another thing that I loved on your website is like I saw that photo of you where you're like splashing in the big puddle when it was raining.
Yeah.
And I think that just I felt so seen by that because it
Oh,
reminded me like I would take my older son out like when it rains and go splash in the puddles, right?
yeah.
That sense of like joy and play and movement is just so inspiring. So can you like share a little bit more about like how playfulness fits into like your creative process?
Oh, yeah. I feel like there's this undertone in the world collectively that a couple, like, in order to be successful or taken seriously, you need to be like professional,
Mhm.
or in order to just be safe around new people we meet, we need to just be like safe, not our whole selves. Let's just have
Yeah.
some small talk. Let's ask the predictable questions, or let's ask the safe questions, right? And I think the way that I've like the reason I like love having a personal brand as a photographer, and I get to say I'm a photographer for free-spirited and adventurous couples, is like that's an automatic label permission slip of like this is what you're gonna see, the energy you're gonna be around if you enter my world on Instagram or on my website, or we actually get to work together, right? And I just get to show up that way. And it's not just because that's what I want my brand to be. It's because that's who I am at my core and how I grew up. And if I think back to that 8-year-old Sara, like 8-year-old Sara is just like silly, goofy, running around, energetic, wants to go camping, doesn't care about painting her nails or hair. It's just like, I want to just be and be in nature and grounded and be playful and laugh. It's like so fun when I did a lot of like work on this like 13 or no, sorry, 11 years ago now, like my personal branding. It was just so in like freeing to just be myself in my work. And then I attract couples that if
Yeah.
I go first, if I'm vulnerable with my personality and that silly, like I have that photo on my website, right? Like
I
I'm
loved
just
it.
splashing
You
in
were
a
so like
puddle.
joyful.
Yeah, I'm splashing a puddle, no makeup on, like workout clothes on. The whole my shirt has a ton of holes in it. Like
I
it's
didn't
just
notice that to be
like,
honest. I
yeah,
thought it was
see?
just raindrops probably.
Exactly. But it's like if I can be in that energy first, it gives people that work with me permission to be in that energy too. And then I get to work with couples that are also playful,
Mhm.
which means that I get to create from a playful energy, and photos that are playful, get photos that are playful and not photos where they feel like they're put in a box,
Right.
because it's an engagement session and it should be pretty and romantic and serious, right? There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. There are couples that have that energy as like maybe the main energy in the relationship is romance and
Mhm.
like quiet intimacy, and there's photographers that are a perfect fit for that. But I create my best work when we could just be adventuring around
Yeah.
outside, being silly, and oh, you can roll around in the grass right now, you guys go. And they're
Yeah.
like, okay. And it's
Great.
just like, and but it matches their personalities and matches their
Totally.
energy, and it all starts at the branding. So, um, yeah, life would be way too boring for me if I couldn't be playful in my work. So I just decided to include it.
Yeah, no, I think that's like such a great point. And again, especially for people, photographers who are just like starting out in their business, I think that's such a powerful point because I think, at least like in my experience, and I feel like many other photographers, is they think that they need to like be taking on everything that comes their
hmm
way. And maybe that's just like a feeling of maybe only having limited opportunities at that point. But but having a strong brand, I think, is so important because your brand isn't meant to be for everybody. Like
hmm
I think having it be built strong enough is like meant to attract and repel.
Exactly.
Because it's like you are trying to attract those people who are
Yeah.
like-minded and want those similar experiences. And then, like you said, that's when you get to create your best work because it aligns with
Yeah.
who you are and what your brand
And
is.
it makes running a business
So
so much
fun.
easier, because if you repel the people that aren't the right fit for you, you don't have problem clients. I
Yes.
don't have problem clients.
Yeah.
I photographed 350 weddings in my career so far,
Mhm.
over 350, and I would probably count on in like, I don't even know the exact number. It could be two or three clients that, wait, what happened? How did they get through the door? Like,
Mhm.
why? Like, it was just like a, what happened there, right? But
Yeah.
it's such a small percentage that I didn't even have to deal with that stuff, because expectations are set, permission slip is given for me to say fuck, for me to
Yeah.
swear around them, and just like show up to a shoot in my Lululemons, and I know I'm gonna
Yes.
probably get in the water. Like,
Yes.
it's expected, and then you don't have to second guess yourself while you're shooting, because a lot of the times photographers' creativity is cut off while shooting because they're overthinking of how they're being perceived
Right.
on the shoot. And it's like if you just take care of that in your branding and people when they pay you and say yes to you, that's your permission slip that hey, on the shoot, I get to just like boldly be me, just like I'm boldly me on my website, on my
Right.
Instagram. It's like the most freeing feeling of running a
Well,
business.
yeah, I've talked about that too, is like just again, especially showing up or being an athlete growing up, it's like I want to live in my Lululemons, you know?
Yeah.
So if I can wear that to your session because I'm not in these photos right now and your family is, great. But also because
Yeah.
I'm going to be like hiking through the tall grass and this and that, what am I
Yeah.
supposed to wear a dress?
Exactly.
Like just stuff like that. And like one of the things that I've had on my website and I talked about a lot for a while is just like I'm wearing my Nikes. I am going to be wearing my Nikes to your wedding day. Like that's comfortable.
Yeah.
Or with just stuff like that. Like just
Yeah.
allow yourself to be yourself. And then those are going to be the people that you bring into your world. And me, very similarly to you, it's like I've had very, very few issues with clients because they
Yeah.
all show up and I'm like, wait, like we're just like friends, you know?
Yeah. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
um, let's see. We'll just, I was like, this has been such a fun conversation and so
Oh,
dynamic.
it's been so
It's
great.
been like so good. Like,
I
I
love it.
cannot wait to share this
Yeah.
with everybody. Um, I think we talked about this briefly, but like we often think of movement as something like on a to-do list. And
Mhm.
but you seem to like really integrate it into like how you live. So how would you encourage listeners to reframe movement as something intuitive?
Ooh, okay. I like to think of this actually not even into I would say habit stacking.
Hmm.
So like for example, I'm so happy that we get to walk our son to his Montessori school. So it's
Oh,
like
she's in
as
Montessori
much as
also.
possible, like yeah, as much
Or
as
Mike.
possible, like
Yeah.
walking. Oh, yours are too? That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome.
I love this.
As much as possible, like walking there and
Mhm.
then picking him up walking, like
Mhm.
or for example, last night, right? We had like a longer day. He was homesick too, and I kind of like layered working with him being homesick and TV and stuff. But like in the evening, I wanted to spend time with him, but I also wanted to get even more walking in and exercise for my own energy.
Right.
So I'm like, you know what? Let's not sit and eat dinner at the table. Let's take it to go. And I put him in the stroller, even though he's 3. I'm like maximizing
Oh,
how
for
long I could
sure.
keep him in that
Heck
thing.
yes.
And then he just got to like sit there and eat his dinner. We got
Yeah.
to like enjoy the birds and nature and
Yeah.
go for a walk. And I got to have like another whole essentially workout. Like walking is a huge part of not just yoga. Like I walk every single day,
Mhm.
like try to hit 30 minutes to an hour every single day. It's like the best thing for my soul.
Mhm.
So, um, I would say finding like problem solving those little things. There's actually a book that I read when Rory and I were in Nepal. We did an Annapurna circuit, which is like a 250-kilometer trek. This was like
Okay.
2017.
I think I read about
It's
this a
the
little bit
hardest
on
thing.
your site too.
One of the hardest things I've ever done.
Yeah.
But I read this book. Oh fuck, what's it called? I don't remember. It's a white book with a red bike on it, I think. But
I'm
in
not
there,
sure about
she
this one.
thought of this idea called opportunity to move, and in
Okay.
short, OTM. OTM, OTM, OTM.
Hmm.
And essentially, it's anywhere you go, anywhere you are, there's always an opportunity to move.
Hmm.
Like when you're brushing your teeth, you could be pacing and walking back and forth. When you're at the airport, you could be the person that uses the stairs, not the escalator. I literally always use the stairs
That's
with my
how
like
we are.
carry-on.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm like, no one's doing this. I'm like, why
Yeah.
am I like the only one? Well, probably like 5% of people do it.
Right.
And, park at the very farthest part to the grocery store and
Right.
walk
Yes.
like more steps.
I've never understood why
Yeah,
people don't do that. I'm like, okay, I don't
yeah,
mind walking. Like me and my husband, thank goodness, like he's very, very active as well.
yeah.
Like he does jujitsu and boxing and running and all this stuff. Like his days are crazy. I'm like, you be waking up at 4:30 in the morning, you get like 6 hours of sleep total, and you do all of this like in your day. Like,
Same with
good for you.
Rory. Yeah, yeah,
Good job. I'm like, I took the boys to the park. Like,
yeah. I
but
love that.
again, different seasons, different movement, right?
Yeah,
And it's the same thing. Him and I have always talked about. It's like, well, we don't mind walking. Like if we need to park at the back of
yeah,
the parking lot, like who cares? Like whatever.
yeah.
But so many people will circle and circle until they get like the best parking spot. I'm like, for what?
I never got that either. Yeah.
Either.
And it's like, I like this the idea of do the hard thing now
Mhm.
for an easy life versus doing the easy thing now for a hard life.
Yeah.
Because it compounds, man. Like, like if we don't walk, at least walk every day.
Mhm.
At least walk. Like how if it's hard now for you to get your ass out the door to go for a walk, it's like imagine where we'll be if we're 80. And then it's
Yeah.
like I don't want to be that 80-year-old that needs a cane and can only walk around the block. Like I want to be the 80-year-old that runs fucking marathons because they
Yes.
exist. Like those
Yes.
humans exist. And I'm
Go
like, you are
powerlifting.
so inspiring. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like my mother-in-law, she's in her mid 60s and she's running marathons.
See, that's so cool.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
my mom actually she's 60 now, but when she was 50, she did this thing called Project 50 where she was running a half marathon every month. And then but it started a couple years before that and she asked me. So 2 years before that, she's like, "Hey, do you want to run a 5K every month with me?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So then
Oh,
the
that's
next
cool.
year,
Yeah.
she's like, "Do you want to do a 10K every month?" I was like, sure, we could shoot for that." I don't think I was able to do all of that with her that year.
Yeah.
Then no, 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 that's not what she did. This is why this didn't happen. So we did the
Yeah.
5K once a month. And then the next year I was expecting her to say do a 10K once a month, but that's when she's like, let's do a half marathon once a month. And
Oh,
you know
okay.
what, Mom, you could do that one yourself, actually.
Yeah.
I only did one with her, and that was my one and only half marathon I've done. But
Which is still impressive.
it
Yeah.
was it was really fun. But
Yeah.
I actually right now I'm kind of up against like my own challenge with like
Hmm.
movement and activity. I just found out probably about 6 weeks ago now that I have like arthritis like right in the middle of my right foot. And
Mm,
so that has been a challenge because like I've always really liked the class that I like to go to at the gym is like mostly body weight workouts, but it's very like high energy, like movement, like fun music on, body weight squats, lunges, that kind of stuff. And now I'm
yeah.
experiencing like all this pain and like now I'm in a
Mm,
place where I need to reevaluate how movement looks in my life. So like it's kind of
right.
fun hearing you talk about yoga because I've
Oh,
been
yeah.
into like more of like mobility exercises. And it's crazy because like I've never been like a flexible person like in all of these years of sports. And so all of a sudden I started doing this mobility stuff like the last few weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. And I'm like, what the heck? I can touch my toes with ease. I have never been like that. And I was like, wait a minute, how come nobody told me about these kind
Yeah.
of exercises? Because this is like
Yeah.
a game changer. So it's been
That's
really
amazing.
interesting to like learn about different types of movement and how it can affect my body in a positive way still, even though it
Yeah.
seems like less intense, I guess, to me, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. You know, it seems like
Yeah.
much smoother and softer and stretching and this and that, but it's so good.
It's so good. And it's like I remember like how ripped I was just from yoga. Yoga
Okay.
alone, I wasn't even doing weights
Yeah.
and I was so toned and defined and strong. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, it's really great. Actually, I have to recommend as soon as you said pain, like arthritis.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the book called The Great Pain Deception?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I need
it
this book,
is
I think.
incredible. It's all about essentially how any pain that shows up in our bodies that's chronic, like
Hmm.
arthritis or lower back pain or some other ailments, migraines too.
Hmm.
Anything that's like chronic like that comes out of fucking nowhere,
Hmm.
like is essentially a distraction for
Hmm.
us to like evolve. It's like our body, it's like our ego trying to distract us to not do harder things to keep us safe. It's a really insane read and like the success stories out of like people reading this book is like incredible. There's people that had like intense back pain for like 15 years
Hmm.
like back like said no to back surgery and all this stuff and then read the book and then it was gone. Like it was
I
just
need this
like
book in my life.
yeah,
You're gonna
yeah,
have to send me the link to this because
I
this is gonna
will.
be next on my to read list. Because it's just
I
been
will.
like what with me, like what ended up happening is like it, ever since I had Colby back in August, I've been noticing like there's something going on with my foot, and I was kind of thinking, just post-pregnancy hormonal shifts, da da
Yeah.
da.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of let it be. And obviously, I was very busy like postpartum.
Hmm.
And I kept thinking like it'll pan out, da da da. And then once I kind of got back into like the gym and my class, it would kind of come and go. And then the last few times I did the class, it was to a point where I was like, no, something is seriously wrong. Like I need to
Hmm.
go get this figured out. And I was thinking it was like a hairline fracture of some sort.
Yeah.
Sure, throw
Yeah.
a boot on it for a few weeks and I'll be fine. And then I was like, honestly, I was like devastated. He's like, oh, you have bad arthritis, like right in the center of like the joint you need to like walk and move. And I'm like,
Yeah.
sweet. And bone spurs. I was like, okay. So basically, he told me to pretty much rest like as much as I could although he knew I had both boys because they were in the appointment with
Yeah.
me. He's like, good luck with that. But he's like, pretty much like rest, ice, elevate as much as I could until the wedding in Cabo. Yeah,
Hmm.
thankfully I was able to like be good and up and going.
Hmm.
But yeah, so now I'm just at a point where I'm like, all right, now I need to navigate like whether it be like the pain management, but like just the certain kind
Yeah.
of exercises that are going to help me still feel like my best self. And like maybe
Yeah.
eventually I can kind of get back into those dynamic
Hmm.
exercises, but we'll see. Uh,
Yeah. You got this. You're gonna
oh,
problem
for
solve
sure.
it.
For
Figure
sure.
you'll heal it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
excited. Now I'm excited to check out that book because I think maybe
Yeah.
that would be like a little bit more of that powerful mindset shift that I might need
Hmm.
around this too. Because at the moment I'm still feeling a little bit like I don't know what to do with this, you know?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, well, cool. So, one last question I think that I have for you is if someone was feeling disconnected, like from their body or their creativity or just like joy, what's like one small movement-based action that they can try today to like come back to themselves?
Disconnected from their body, creativity, or joy. Huh. Actually, something that came up for me is
Mhm.
like putting on a piece of music
Mm.
that you just feel like listening to in the moment. It could be soca, like upbeat. It could be like classical, whatever. Just like close the door, give yourself that song
Privacy. Yeah.
and just intuitively move your body
Yeah.
to like it just like move your body, release, like be weird and you're dancing, like whatever.
Yeah.
By the end of that song, you're gonna be like, what? What was I thinking? Where was I stuck? I
Right?
just okay. Like it's I think it's like it's called like
Somatic.
somatic. Yeah,
Somatic movement, I think.
movement and
Yeah.
yeah. But I didn't even realize that I naturally did that when I was a
Okay.
kid or whatever. Like I would just like dance. You just dance out of nowhere,
Yeah.
right?
Me
Like when you
too.
want to.
I saw Brody doing that in the backyard recently.
Exactly. Like our bodies are meant to like move. There's a reason when you notice when a duck attacks another duck randomly in the water, there's a little bit of drama and it's like "Meow, meow, meow," and they're just like
So
chasing each
random, but
other.
I'm
And yeah, you're like, where are you going with this?
yeah.
And then what you'll notice is as soon as the drama is over, they separate and then both ducks flap their wings and it's to get rid of that energy
Oh,
and just
you're
to like
right.
start fresh and move on. Like
Okay.
why dogs shake like to just like there's so much that like we could just shake off.
Mhm.
So I don't
Mariah
know that
Carey, shake
even
it off.
yeah. Yeah, so just that's a tip that I would do
Oh,
because
I
I
like that.
remember Rory and I before having Ben, we would call them tequila nights because we love drinking tequila just straight
Ooh,
and just
yes,
listening to music and
yes to
dancing in our
this.
own living room.
Yep,
Yeah, you
yes
too.
to this.
Awesome.
We didn't,
Awesome.
I mean, we didn't do that, but tequila
Yeah,
over any other
tequila.
alcohol, little
Totally.
margarita, yes.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So we
Uh,
would have these like tequila nights probably like once a week on the weekend, right? If I wasn't
uh-huh.
shooting a wedding.
Yeah.
And we just like dance our heart outs in the living room for like hours and
Oh
just have
my gosh,
tequila and whatever.
this is
And I
so
never
cute. Can I photograph
noticed
this?
like yeah. And I never noticed like how just me I was like we were just dancing
Yeah.
but I for it affected how I had so much room and time for play in my life, and then my business felt easy, and I felt confident to show up as myself. I think it was like, yeah, if you move your body intuitively, it releases stuff and it puts things into alignment. And I didn't realize I was doing that because when we stopped after Ben was born, we didn't have those tequila nights anymore when I was pregnant. I'm like, why do I feel like something's missing? And
You're like
like
breast
I
milk
realized
nights.
that dancing, yeah, breast milk nights, yeah, yeah,
No, totally. Actually, when Brody started preschool, so he was 3 in the mornings, like if we had enough time, like during the getting ready in the morning, he would come in my room and get on the bed and we would put on some music, usually Justin Timberlake. I'm a big JT
yeah.
fan. Justin Timberlake, and we would have like a dance party in the morning.
That's
So then it became
cute.
like a thing. And it was fun because like I kind of felt that same thing around the just fun, random, sporadic dance moves. That it's like
Yeah,
it just feels good. It just like gets that
yeah,
energy like in a better place, if
yeah.
or just
Yeah.
elevates like that already positive energy. So,
Yeah, so true.
well, I so greatly appreciate this conversation. There's so much just value and fun stuff packed in this episode. So thank you so much for being here. And if you could just share really quick with the listeners where they can find you online, that would be great.
Yeah, thank you. Oh my God, this was like such a soul nourishing conversation for me. Thank you for creating such a space where it was like fun and you literally gave me permission to be myself too. I love how you have the format of your podcast. You're like, it's not edited. My
Hmm.
kids are there in the background, and
Yep.
like whatever happens, and it's like, oh, that's like my favorite type of way to be in
Yes.
business, in life. So
Yeah,
thank you for creating that because then it brought out
absolutely.
those parts of me too.
Hmm.
But yeah, I would love to connect with you guys. If you have any questions for me, if you just want to say hi, you can find me on Instagram at Sarah Monica Photo. That's Sarah, no H, Monica with a K.
Hmm.
And you guys can also grab for photographer friends that 3 hour post-wedding workflow. It also works for portrait sessions. Like it's the same workflow, so you should grab it anyway.
Hmm.
Sarahmonica.com/workflow. And then you can always check out my podcast too. It's called the Shine and Thrive Photography Podcast. And I'm on YouTube. So Sarah Monica YouTube, all that. There you go.
Harmonica is everywhere. You need to be there too, essentially. Well, thank you again so much. I love just like your passion and your high energy and just everything that you brought to the table for us today. And maybe who knows, maybe we'll have to do a few follow-up episodes on everything we talked about.
That'll be fun. That'll be so fun.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here listening to the Sharpshooter Pod. And as always, enjoy the moment.